Through modern technology, we are now more connected than we've ever been before. But amazingly, there are still communities and tribes that live completely off the grid, and are still, to this day, uncontacted. While some people have tried to make contact with a number of these groups, that is often a foolish idea, as these tribes can be understandably hostile when an unknown person tries to communicate with them. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So here are the 5 most dangerous uncontacted tribes in the world. Number 1. In 2011, Jose Morales, an activist who specializes in dealing with the treatment of uncontacted tribes, flew to the Amazon rainforest with the BBC because the government agency he worked for claimed they needed proof of an uncontacted tribe in the rainforest so that they could work to preserve their existence. Well, that is exactly what they found. They flew a kilometer above the rainforest, and using a zoom lens, they managed to capture some incredible footage of a previously unknown tribe. This video and these images were breathtaking and showed us pieces of how the tribe lived. From the straw huts they had created to the way they painted themselves, viewers were given a close look into this tribe. Unfortunately, illegal logging, forest fires, and trees being chopped down at an alarming rate are making the Amazon rainforest a difficult place to live for these communities. There are an estimated 70 uncontacted tribes in the Amazon, which is around 85% of the uncontacted population. The more they lose of the rainforest, the less safe they are. This footage has helped pump more funds into helping these tribes be preserved, but there is still a long way to go until they are safe. Number 2. The Jarowas are one of the last remaining mostly uncontacted tribes in the Andaman Islands. At the end of the 18th century, it was estimated that there were 7,000 people in the islands who were a part of these undiscovered tribes. But after they were first found, that number began to fall, and today, many of the former tribes are unfortunately extinct, and the Jarowas are one of the last to remain. The Jarowas have a population of 270 people, and they are usually quite hostile towards outsiders and try to avoid contact at all costs. This is for good reason, as there have been multiple attempts to commercially exploit this tribe and make money off them. The worst blow that this tribe had suffered was the Great Andaman Truck Road, which is a highway that spans the entire height of the island and cuts through some of the land that the Jarowas claim. It's an unfortunate situation and has led to the Jarowas becoming somewhat of a bizarre tourist attraction and an endangered tribe.
Some hunter-gatherers of the Jarowa tribe have left their jungle habitat and are off on their way to an Indian settlers' village. At the entrance to the Jarowa Reserve in the northwest of the island. Alongside the road, a sign, "Beware of the Jarowa." But forest officials don't hesitate to intrude into the jungle these days. They're even cutting trees in the reserve. Instead of protecting the reserve as the law dictates, Indian authorities are exploiting it.
We should stop encroaching into their territory. We should restore to them their traditional land.
And how can this be done?
By closing the Andaman Trunk Road and pulling
India has violated basic human rights by constructing the Andaman Trunk Road that runs through the middle of Jarowa territory, says Sane. They're pledging for a closure of the road, but traffic goes on.
Number 3. In June 2014, a previously uncontacted tribe attempted to communicate with a group of journalists in the Amazon rainforest. They were unable to properly talk to each other, and the members of the tribe ended up ransacking the village for clothes and food. Later, their conversation was translated, and it appears that these tribe members were attempting to escape from some dangerous men they met in the forest, which could be poachers or bounty hunters. The film crew managed to meet up with them again, and they were able to get some insight into the way they live their lives. They are a part of a small percentage of uncontacted tribes in the rainforest who have knowledge of the outside world but have decided not to join it. Other similar communities have joined and have turned to the outside world for resources, but this has led to these villages being raided and robbed for their supplies, and it is causing a divide within the rainforest between the groups who have joined civilization and the ones who haven't. The 2016 Channel 4 documentary, Lost Tribe of the Amazon, takes a look at these tribes who have these struggles. Number 4. In 2006, the Bolivian government confirmed that they knew about the existence of several uncontacted tribes in their country. They were discovered in reservations, national parks, and forests. There were 5 tribes of note, and these communities added up to around 1,000 people in total. It seems that the Bolivian government have handled this quite well. They signed the Declaration of Belém in 2005, which gave these communities their basic human rights, and they sealed off the areas where they were discovered so that they could own that land. In fact, very little is known about these communities, which is definitely a good thing. Logging is a lot less frequent, and human interaction seems to be minimal to non-existent. This is obviously better for the tribe's well-being and quality of life, and it is a refreshing but unfortunately rare story in the case of uncontacted tribes. Number 5. The North Sentinelese are one of the most well-known groups of this nature, but to this day, they have never been successfully contacted, and they react violently to anybody who tries to contact them. They live on North Sentinel Island, a small body of land in the Indian Ocean that is only around 20 miles away from civilization, but this doesn't really seem to have much of an effect on the island, as they are very rarely visited. However, a few instances have occurred. In the 1860s, a ship crashed near the island and the passengers went to the nearest beach to find help. Unfortunately, this beach was the shore of North Sentinel Island, and instead of getting help, they had to fight off the islanders until they eventually got rescued. Another instance occurred in 2006 when 2 fishermen accidentally drifted towards the island and were subsequently killed. Most recently, John Allen Chow, a 26-year-old American missionary, decided to bribe some fishermen and take him to the island so that he could teach them about Christianity. John was killed by the islanders, and the fishermen who helped them get there were arrested. The Indian government have decided that it's illegal to go within 5 miles of this island, a decision that's probably for the best. Occasionally after natural disasters, the government will send a team out to check if they're okay. They will also leave behind gifts for the islanders, and sometimes these have been well received, but other times they react violently. They are definitely some of the most fascinating people in the world, with their own language, their own traditions, and a history that's been virtually untouched by the modern world. And that is the way it should remain. They don't need gifts, they don't need assistance, and they don't need Jesus. They just need to be left alone.
This was a journey American missionary John Chow was warned against taking. The island was off limits to protect outsiders and the tribe, which has no immunity to modern diseases. This morning, investigators are trying to figure out who else might have been involved in that fatal mission.
Today, this remote island in the Indian Ocean is the focus of an investigation. Where is American missionary John Chow's body? This morning, 7 people, including fishermen accused of taking him there, are under arrest. More may be under suspicion. Chow was no stranger to exotic adventures, trekking in South Africa, snowshoeing across the Pacific Northwest, diving in the Andaman Sea, curious about the tribes. But his trip to North Sentinel Island in the Andaman Sea was both perilous and illegal. The endangered tribe that lives there, the Sentinelese, have kept their way of life for centuries, rejecting contact with a modern world, known for attacking outsiders. Chow's trip there, against the law.
This was a dangerous trip both for the missionary and the tribe.
It was incredibly dangerous for him and foolhardy thing to have done, but even more dangerous for the Sentinelese themselves. They are the most isolated tribe on Earth, so they're the most vulnerable in terms of a lack of immunity to common diseases like flu and measles that will decimate a tribe.
Journal entries from Chow's last days show that he was well aware of the danger, writing, "I'm scared. If you want me to get actually shot or even killed with an arrow, then so be it. I don't want to die."
He wanted to share the love of God with them. That was his whole mission.
In another entry, he describes being shot at with bow and arrow, which pierced his Bible, writing, "Why did a little kid have to shoot me today? His high-pitched voice still lingers in my head." And a final message to family: please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Don't retrieve my body.
And that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. I'll leave a link down below to all of the usual stuff like my social medias, the footage used, and the music featured, but I'll also leave a link down below to the National Indian Foundation's website. They are a Brazilian government body agency that help uncontacted tribes remain that way. They try and prevent a lot of the problems that I talked about in this video that these tribes have to go through. So if you want to check them out, you can find out more information or you can donate to their cause. I will leave a link in the description. But like I said, that's all for now. As always, until next time.